We'll do the class. All right, guys, we are going to get started. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Sqweee, which is a brand new platform that Lauren and I have been digging into, really figuring out. We've definitely run quite a handful of classes at this point, and we're just loving the engagement and that it gets around the Facebook algorithm. So I'm going to try to share my screen as we go, but Lauren is going to kick us off. So I'm going to pull up Sqweee. Okay.
Okay. All right, you guys, really quick introduction on Sqweee. So I know that I probably am not alone. I know Taylor was feeling the same way. We were feeling very frustrated with Facebook classes. We were spending a lot of time getting Facebook classes, scheduling all the posts, using Visly, and nothing was being seen. So one day I talked to this lady and I said, hey, she was Usborne. So Usborne was using Sqweee. There's a lot of social selling companies that use Sqweee. And I just reached out to her and I said, hey, can you explain to me what Sqweee is? So then Taylor and I kind of dug in. I'm not technical at all. I'm very not detailed oriented. So I knew I needed someone technical and detailed oriented. So Taylor kind of did that part and she's going to talk to you about that. And I'll talk to you kind of like the introduction of it all. But basically Sqweee has been really kind of a cool platform to use. I'm super busy. I know a lot of you guys are really busy. And so to run a week-long Facebook class is great, but I would forget about them. Like it was just a lot of posts. It was a lot of information. And so Sqweee is one of those things that we get to now use. You set a time, you set a date, and it's like a 40-minute presentation. You're not on camera. Your guests are not on camera. And you are explaining the makeup basically like you would in a Facebook class, but more interactive. So we're excited to show you kind of how this whole thing works. So Taylor, I don't know, is it already up? I can't. Okay, well, screen record. Okay. So with Sqweee, one of the things about it is it's very fast moving. And Taylor and I run our classes just a little bit differently, but basically we start with a Facebook group. So we start with the Facebook group, and it's basically a group that we use to house people, our host guests in. Okay, yeah, sorry, I went from there to back. So you basically make a Facebook group. Oh, good, she's going to show you. Perfect. And this is exactly like the template that we use. So we just tell them that the party is on Sqweee. The Facebook group is going to be pretty uneventful. There's not going to be a lot of posts in there, but we always start with kind of a introduction. We always ask our hosts to make a welcome post because obviously they want to hear from the host. And then we always start with, oh, go back. Will you go back to that? Keep going down. Sorry. Right here. So Taylor and I do it where we use text magic, okay, to inform our host guests. So we have our hosts, they bring them to the Facebook party. We do a quick little blurb about what Sqweee is and that this is going to be a really kind of uneventful group, but what we need from them is a phone number, okay? And that's the way we've chosen to do that. You don't have to do that. I've had parties where nobody will give me their phone number, so I've used Facebook Messenger. So you can actually go through Facebook Messenger as well and just give them the link. So this is what we use. Like I said, you don't have to do that. Am I forgetting anything, Taylor, with that?
No, I mean,
Okay.
yeah. So I'll put sometimes like a sneak peek so they understand what Sqweee is. And then the only other thing that I usually post, and I don't always do these, is sometimes I'll post their shopping link and a reminder to get color match. Like this was the entire class. So
yes. Now the only thing that we do differently, I know Taylor doesn't do this, and I don't know, I do, but sometimes Sqweee can go fast. So the next day I will do a full-blown live in my Facebook group. So that just gives them two different ways to watch. You can run your class however you want. I like to show the differences of how Taylor and I have done it because we've both been successful in our own different ways. Okay, so that's your housing. That's kind of how you're housing them, okay? And then you're hyping it up. You're like, I usually start my class, Taylor, I don't know how early you start yours. I usually start mine about 3 to 4 days before. So that gives people time to get in, but I'm hyping it up throughout those 4 days so people don't forget. But it's kind of up to you. Sometimes I tried my first class like 5 and it was too much for me.
I do have my host personally start inviting at least a week before to try to get those numbers. I will say, I think Lauren's a little more flexible in this than I am. I am not flexible with this, where I'm like, no, we're getting numbers, because then I can automate it all. is the reason why I do that. So there's training on text magic if you want to go find that. I ran one in the Glow Getters, and then Sarah Davies just ran one in the Artist House. That will figure all that out, but I am pretty rigid. So I make them start a week, or one of my hosts was like, can we start 2 weeks before of me collecting numbers? I was like, yeah, but then I wait until about 4 days before to send the invite link. And then I actually send color match instructions ahead of time as well, and say like, have your picture ready. And then I do a reminder the day before, and like basically right before we're getting ready to go live.
And I do it a little differently. So this is why I like that we do it, because we're both very different in how we think. So I have a hard time getting phone numbers, but I'm also, like she said, I'm very like flexible. I'm like, okay, whatever, I'll figure out how to get hold of you. So what I do is if I don't hear from them or the host can't get numbers, I will send a personal message on Facebook. If I still don't get a response back, I do end up putting the Sqweee link like about 2 days until the party. I'll put that on that main Facebook page so they at least can come on to the party. And then I will also do on the Facebook group, I do my color matching there, and I ask them to take a no makeup selfie before the class. So there's just different ways. I like to show you guys that there's lots of different ways you can run this. You just have to figure out what works for you. Okay, let's go to Sqweee. So basically, another thing that we do really quick is we send a text magic email, or I'm sorry, text magic text to them. Usually like 2 days before I do, and I'm like, get it 2 days before, whatever, telling them the Sqweee link, send that to them. And then like usually I do it like an hour before the class, I send them another reminder so that they know that that class is going to start. Sqweee also, once they go in RSVP, they click on the link that you have, and then they can RSVP, and then that will send them an email reminder too that the class is going to start. So that's kind of cool too. Yeah, there's the copy of the event link, and that's the link that you would send. And Taylor, you're going to go into some of that, right?
Yeah, I just thought I'd show, and we'll show you how to set this up, the technical aspects, but this, when you send the link, this is what it looks like. And I find it helpful to have them write a blurb about why they love the makeup. I get a picture, all of that. So that's what it looks like, just in case you guys are wondering. And then if they put in their email is where, so some people won't put in their email, so they won't get the reminder, which is why it's important for you to also send that reminder.
And I like this too, because it's so interactive, and also it's a template. So we can also use this template again. So it's kind of like that Visly template where you can use it again. Sqweee is the same way. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel every class that you do. In fact, Taylor and we will share a template together, and it just makes it so easy. So this is like what it looks like. So let's say it's the night of the class, you start the class, this is what the class would look like. So if you've never seen it, this is kind of what it looks like. It has a group chat. So you start welcoming your guests, you're talking to them the entire time throughout the presentation, as you can see here. And then on the left-hand side, those are going to be your slides. So think of it like a PowerPoint presentation, and they're all timed. So you can set your timer for however long you want that slide to sit. And then as the next slide comes on, it dings. And so your guests know that you're now onto another slide. So Taylor, do you mind jumping to like a video post? Most of our classes are video posts. And so you'll have some of these. You can do. So then we'll put the saint story. So they're already like welcoming into the class, and they're getting to know the saint story, why we do what we do, why we love our CEO, all of those things. So you're getting them excited. One cool thing that I absolutely love, but if you know my personality, you know I like it, but you can like, when the class starts, you can like push the confetti button, and confetti goes everywhere, balloons, like it's probably my fun teacher in me, but I like doing that because I'm like, okay, the class has started. But you have like fun little things right on the left-hand side that you can do. So it's very interactive and really fun for your guests, the more interactive you can be. So you want to be chatting that whole time. And then you also can do polls on here. So there's a place on here that you can do a poll, so you can kind of get a good read of where they're at. You can see all those. So there's the poll. How often do you wear makeup? So you can start your class. And when they RSVP, there's also a poll that you can add. So you can kind of figure out where your guests are at. Maybe they don't wear makeup very much, or maybe they do. And so this just kind of throughout the class, you can throw polls in to kind of see where they're at, which I like so much better than a Facebook group, because when you have a Facebook group, you really don't know where those people are at unless they're interacting with you or on your posts, which sometimes they don't at all. So Taylor and I have both used incentivizing too. So like if they fill out the poll and they're interactive in the class and they show up, we do a giveaway, and that kind of seems to help to get people there too. Okay, so basically you can keep jumping if you want, Tay. So you can just see, so we go through like a highlight slide, a contour slide, basically the videos you would use in your normal Facebook class. We're now doing this in a 40-minute session. And they can ask questions alongside the video. So let's say you show a contour video and they're like, oh, I never knew I could contour my cheekbones, or whatever they say. You can go ahead and start replying to them. Or how do you get your makeup to stay? You can immediately respond to them. So it's just a really quick way to answer their questions. And also, a lot of times people have questions and they're afraid to ask, and this just is a really, really easy flowing type way to do that. And you can see, like, even here, like, you can like, love things too as they say them, so that they know that you're seeing them as well. So it's kind of like a rolling text message, I guess is the way to say it. Let's see.
Really quick, this is an example of like, and we do encourage people and remind people, like pausing and saying, what questions do you have? But that way, you know, everyone is seeing this. There is a private chat. I personally never use the private chat because it's nice that everyone sees it. So the other thing is this template, just so I don't forget, is what we adapted to give you guys. So it's videos of a bunch of artists on our team. And I'm going to show you how to import it, all of that. You can either take this if you have a brand new artist and slightly modify it and run a Sqweee event for them if they're a brand new artist. That's what this whole thing was we did like a big launch to test it out for a bunch of artists. Or you can take the template yourself, run your own class and just educate your customers, or you can put in a host. So this template was designed with a lot of flexibility in mind, but it's going to look familiar once you start playing around with Sqweee.
Yeah, and this service, so Sqweee is $20 a month. You can actually, Taylor and I share an account. So we've kind of tested it out where we can run classes at the same time. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. You get your first month free. But for $20, I pay 10, Taylor pays 10, and literally it's like we can run as many classes as we want for $20. So if you have a teammate that you want to partner up with, it does save a lot of money with that. And we actually tested it the other day because we accidentally booked, we were sending each other our schedules, but then we booked the same party on the same day and we're like, hey, let's just see if it works. And it actually works for us to both run a class at the same time. So sharing it with another teammate might save you some money too. So think of that if you're trying to do that. So hey,
and one little thing, if money-wise, if you do split it with a teammate and you're using Visily and you've been paying for Visily, you could consider canceling unless I would try it out the free month, but after that, like if you really like Sqweee, like I personally canceled my Visily account because I'm not running Facebook parties anymore. So that might be just a little calculation of how you can redirect the money to something that's going to bring you money in. Is there anything else?
Okay, I think that's it. Unless you think I didn't cover something.
I don't think so. I wasn't looking at the notes, but
I looked at the notes. I did good.
We're awesome. All right. So we're gonna walk through the technical aspects of this. And so I'm gonna try my best. I have a couple different screens and all of that. So, and I want to walk you guys through so you know exactly how to set everything up. The one thing I do want to say is there are so many videos on the actual website. And so I recommend, oh, that's why I'm in the wrong screen. Sorry. That's the right one. Never mind. So under here, tutorials, it will link you to YouTube. So that's something else that we're going to show you really quickly tonight. You do need a YouTube account. All the videos are pulled from YouTube, but I will say there's a lot of benefits of having your videos on YouTube. It really organizes them. Lauren actually uses it for all her video organization. And then when she needs the video, she just quickly goes and downloads it and then like reposts it wherever it is. So I do think it's something good to look into broadly, but you will need that for this. So, all right, the first thing that I want to walk you guys through is you need to set up your business in this. So where you go to do that is you go to account profile. And basically, oh, as a quick aside, this was literally, it says on the website, designed for direct sales. So one of the problems we're having with Facebook right now is the fact that it's like filtering all of our posts. Because we're a direct sales company, we're selling things. That's what this was designed for. And you don't have an algorithm. So that's the benefit. So you literally just scroll down, you'll fill in. Lauren and I, because we share the account, we do it as your personal makeup mentor rather than one name or the other. You put your name if it is your account. You'll go to add a business. What you're going to see is there's tons of direct sales companies. Saint is not in here. Mascara is, but Saint is not. So you just go to other, and then basically you can type your business name and then you can type a description. So Lauren and I just have multiple versions in here. This was one we created, like, for example, if you do a launch class for your new artist, you could create like a little version for her, but like this is mine that pops up, and then Lauren has hers. Now, and this is actually not even right now. So we're going to edit this together. So your consultant ID is basically when you go to the website, it's this first part. Can you guys see when I highlight it like that? Okay. It's that first part. That is your consultant ID. It's the unique part only of your website. So I recently just changed mine. It was Mind Body Glow Up at saintofficial.com. Now it's Dr. Tay. So that's what I'm going to type in there. And voila. And I'll show you why this matters later, is that you can actually link it so that you can shop as you go. So that is super easy how you do that. The next thing I want to show you is how to set up an event. So we'll go back to that main page. It's really easy, really self-explanatory. You're going to create new event. You're going to give it a title. You're going to give it a description. You'll need to drop down and find your business. So here's mine. Okay. Now, this host code also is important for the shopping thing that I'm going to show you later. What your host code is it's part of your party. It's your party link, but you don't want to put in your entire party link because of how everything's programmed. We literally are going to hand everything over to you so you don't have to do all the programming. I will say getting the product library in the shop up and running was cumbersome, but it's all done. So you guys don't need to. But what it means is you have to make sure you copy the right thing. So all you're going to be putting in is this part right here, party dash and whatever the number is. So of your either your personal party link if you're running your own, or if you're running it for a new artist, you need to use her party link, or if you're running it for a host, so you'll have to create that before you create the event. So you'll copy that. And that is what goes right here. It says optional, but again, if you want the links to work, you have to do it. Other options, you can change this like to new artist October, for example, so that it's a personalized URL. You can go in. I recommend you do want to add, oh, it wants me to select this time zone. It will make you do certain things. So you select the date and time, super easy. In this, you want to go into the add host info. Why is it being slow? Oh, okay. It wants me to give a title. Okay, there we go. So this is where I upload a picture of my host. I put their first and last name, and I say something like, this is what Mary has to say about the makeup. And then I copy and paste her little testimonial. So you'll want to do that. I just realized I don't think, okay. RSVP survey. I think I didn't write down this code, so we might actually have to go look it up. That was a fail on my part. Yep. Okay. No, the new artist October. It gets a little finicky. So I'm going to save the event really quick. And I need to go find an RSVP code for you guys. So we'll go into this one. This is one I've already set up, for example. And when I go into the RSVP code, right here is what I need. So this, I'll give it to you guys again at the end, but this little code R-22L03Q5, that is going to give you this RSVP survey. And I know I'm going kind of fast, but you guys, this will be recorded. You guys can go back and watch it. Like I said, there's lots of video tutorials, all of that. So you have your event. You don't want to hit start event. You want to go to these three dots. You want to hit edit event. Sorry, it's a little slow. Okay, then you're going to go into your RSVP survey and you're literally going to go import. You're going to hit the share code and search and then you'll import the survey, and look, your RSVP section is done. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to add to the event timeline. So how you can do this, once you have templates you've used, so once you finalize your version, and I'll show you how to make some modifications, you always can go to this little plus and you can go to library code, and all of your existing classes are going to come up. Now you won't have that for the first one. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter this code T-4QC01TW. I'll give these again at the end. You're going to hit search and literally your entire template comes up. So this is the template we are sharing with you guys. You guys are welcome to use this. So you go into import. And voila. So I want to show you a few different ways you can make modifications. Let me just make sure I have a to-do list of things. Change the link, host code, and okay, we did that. Okay, so now we're going to go through modifications of how you actually do that. So a couple things. This right here is actually a graphic. So you can add slides like text image, and then you'll see across the top that, and there's video post, poll questions, there's like a spin the wheel, there's a shake ball, time to shop, all of those, and you can change the formatting here. This is actually a picture that I made in Canva. Now you can click on this design in Canva, and it's going to bring Canva up for you to create. Here's why. Oh, and I'm not even logged in. So I'm not going to show you that exactly. Lauren and I do not like this way to do it, because what happens is you design it and then it's like, oh, you notice a typo and you're like, oh no, I can't fix the typo. I have to recreate the whole graphic. So instead we literally create it in Canva outside. I'll show you guys just very quickly. Nope, did I? Yeah. So we just create them like normal. So this is that. Notice when you guys go to create something new, what the size you need it to be is 16 by 1000. So what you can do is go create new, and you can actually, I believe you can select custom size in the non-pro version. I do have a pro version of Canva. And then simply what you're going to do is you literally just import it like it is a picture. So you'll click this and it's going to pull up your downloads and you'll import it. So you can make any sort of changes you want to this template. Like I said, it's just a general template for you to use. I do recommend that you include some sort of slide of your before and after, and quickly introduce yourself or your new artist that you're running it for, just so people see your face. Again, we just kept this really generic. At one point we had all the new artists, we showed their pictures and then said shout them out in the comments. So if you have a couple artists that you're running for this at once, that would be an option. All right, so some things. Anytime you add a new slide, it's going to default to 5 minutes. Change that to whatever you want it to be. I always allow a little bit of extra time for videos. So this one's set to 4 minutes. I want to say the video itself is 3 minutes. And so just kind of make sure you're adjusting timing as you go. Let's see what is next. So polls. Here's an example of a poll. They're super easy to edit. If you want to, you can actually create your own, and you literally just you're able to type in them. And similarly, some of the slides are not fully graphics. Sorry, it's a little slow. This is a graphic over here, but this is actual text. So you can go ahead and change that. All right, the last thing I want to show you guys, and I'm going to actually, I have a video to swap out, and I was about to do it before this call, but then I realized, wait, let's just do it together. So we're going to go to YouTube now. So basically you need to create a YouTube account. And then once you're in YouTube, you go to your channel, and there is this manage videos. So it's going to pull up Creator Studio. And this is what, like I said, Lauren uses for all her videos. I'm not that organized. So I have just primarily a lot of like my Sqweee stuff. But what you can do is then you can hit create. You can go upload video. We're going to select a file that we're going to actually swap out. This is the file. And it's going to upload. And then I'll walk you through a couple features here. So this is a highlight video that Lorraine generously did for us for the class. You can put descriptions if you want. Now, in terms of like, it will process and it takes a second. But basically you can select your thumbnail if you want it to look pretty, that type of thing. But then I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, I keep trying to move where you guys are located so I can see. I'm going to go to next. Oh, you have to, Lauren, I always say, no, it's not made for kids, but it's not like it's bad content. I never know what to put.
I actually just ignore that.
It doesn't let you.
It does actually on my phone. It does. So I always upload from my phone.
Okay.
Because my computer isn't linked like yours. You know, I don't have an Apple. So on your phone, you can forego that. But I always just put, yeah, it's made for kids.
Okay. I
don't think it matters. I don't think it matters.
So I would say if you want the video to appear on your YouTube page, you want to do it as public. So any of my personal videos I do, but for example, this is one on my page of Lorraine. So I'm going to do it as unlisted, which allows it to be uploaded and me to get a link, but it isn't going to show up on my main page. So that's one little workaround. So, okay. So that is going to take a second to upload. So I'll come back in a second and show you guys how then we're going to get it into Sqweee. Okay. While we're waiting, I want to show you a couple other things now in Sqweee. So we'll go here. Oh, I'm not sharing. And we are starting to wrap up. So we're trying not to keep you on here too long, but the hope is that this gives you a good orientation of how to do this. So, because I won't lie, it took us a while to kind of figure everything out. Okay, couple things. So we're going to go to libraries here. And this is where I was saying you have an entire product library that is already loaded. Now, everything is, I'll show you as an example. So you click on it. It's a little finicky. You have to go to edit now. But if you look here, you have C-ID. That's your consultant ID. And then you have this thing called host code. That's basically your party link. And so what happens is once you put those in, those two fields are going to auto populate, and then it's going to link right to the actual product itself, attached to the correct party link and attached to your correct website. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do this, for example. So you want to go to the product underneath your party link and copy it. And Lauren actually had uploaded this image already, but it's pretty easy. You just go to add import. You're going to add in, you put in the name. I put in how much it costs. And this is the link where you're going to put stuff. But we're going to go ahead. She had already added this one. So we're going to go and I'll show you guys how to actually do the whole correct linking. So I paste it is what I find the easiest thing. Then I go in where it says Dr. Tay, that's my consultant ID, and I type C-ID, which is this little thing here. And then similarly, this whole party thing, that's what you put in your host as your host code. You'll do that. So that little reminder's there. We'll put $14 and you can hit save. So that's super easy. That's how you edit products. That's how you add products. And then the only other thing, did it save? It's being very slow. I'm going to give you guys a product library that you can import. Okay. Okay. Oh, it worked. Okay. So what you do then in terms to import, you go to add or import, and instead of adding a new product, you'll go to import, and you're going to use this code here, P-0 YS037Z. Now it's giving me an error because I pulled the code from my product library, but it should work for y'all to be able then, and what you're going to get is like all these graphics with like the brush cleaner, the perfector sponge, brow cleaner, all of that. And I'll show you then how it shows up in the party. Okay. So really quick, to start an event, once you're ready, you want to start it at the time you say you're gonna. Super easy. You do start event. Then to re-enter an event. So once you have an open thing, you want to go to, so they'll move down to active events. You're going to click these little 3 dots. Actually, no, sorry. Once you start it, you don't need the little 3 dots. You're just going to hit return to event. You'll hit yes. And that's going to take you back into the event. When you are done with the event at the end, this is really important. You want to make sure that you go leave event. You do want to reset. It will prompt you. You want to reset it on the first slide, but you want to leave the event. Once you end the event, no one's going to be able to go back to it. So the really cool thing about this, yes, there's a live portion and we really encourage people to show up, but if they can't make it, they can go back and do a replay. I wanted to show you guys really quick, not this version, we'll show you a different one. What it looks like in terms of the product library. Okay, so in terms of the product library, let's go in and edit this event, and we'll go into our event here. Oops, did I not? Oh, this wasn't one. Hold on. I'll show you guys this again. So it's super easy. You go in, this is my personal one, and you just select one. Once it's already shown up, or you can import the link, you hit import. It's super easy. Okay. So in terms of the product, if you notice in like at the top of number 3 here, it has a little icon. What it does is it's going to link your product library. So this is an example, and this is in your product library I'm sharing with you. Look at this. When I click on this link here, it's going to take me to the palette builder. Like, how cool is that? So, but what's really cool is throughout the event, people can sit there and star things, and then they'll get an email list, or at the end, they'll see what their products are. They also can go straight to the website and shop. We do, of course, remind them to get color match, but it's really cool that they're able to just get that direct access, and they're going right to their host's party link. This is another example. So basically anything in a video, I talk about highlight in this video, I talk about contour, I talk about lip and cheek, I talk about illuminator, powder and cream, and the blush and bronzer brush. So everything is linked separately. So for example, this is going to take me to the contour page. It's honestly pretty cool. I love this feature. So I will say I need to probably update some of these. So when I finally do with all the new product launches, I'll try to remember and send those out, like the new product library out to you guys. So, but I haven't had a chance to do that. Okay. Oh, well, I'll show you in a different one. All right. So let's see if that video is ready in YouTube. It is. Okay. So what you do, you see it there. You literally go to get shareable link. Okay. And it's automatically copied. Then we're going to go back into Sqweee. Sorry, I have to have like multiple screens because I have different Gmail's linked to each, and Gmail recently has been finicky. So sorry to keep switching on you guys. Okay, go back to edit event. And you go into the event itself. Find the video. So Lorraine did one video and then we redid it. So I'll show you how to switch this out. So all you do is you go to change video and you literally are just going to paste that new link in. You hit look up and look, it shows the name of it, use video, and it's in there. Just make sure that you save your your progress. That's the one thing I will say that's a little glitchy. The other thing I realized I didn't show you, adding new product is super easy. Once it's in your library, you can go add from library and just click and be able to kind of take anything that you want. It also shows you all the products that are in this event. So this gives you a good overview of what you're going to get in your product library. Just so yeah, you know. All right, let me make sure I covered everything. I believe I have. Yeah. All right, now let's go ahead and go over some of the links again that the codes that you'll need, and then we'll do a Q&A. So a couple things. I'll show you guys how to do this really quick. There are 2 examples you guys are welcome to go look at. These are classes that have already happened. One of them is the new artist launch class that we just did. Another one was one I did with a host. So what you're going to do is you go to the Sqweee website and you're going to go into event code. And the 2 event codes that you'll need, one is new artist, and it will take you right to that event. So you'll get to see what it looks like too from the customer point of view. I already entered it once, so it has, but you'll put your name in, you hit let's go, and it brings everything up. So it's going to start here. You'll see that, the group chat, it shows everyone that was chatting. So even if they catch the replay, they can go back later. And then this is what I was saying, the favorites. I didn't link any of them, but if I were to, go over, let me find one with products in it, just so you guys can see. Oh, okay, show products. And that's what I was saying. They can star it and then, or they're able to click it, go to product detail. And I don't know, I haven't played around with this, but there's somehow, I think once it's in their starred is how they're able then to go to the website, I believe. So that is one that you guys can do. And then the other one you guys can type in if you want to take a look is, and I'm typing these out because I know it's sometimes hard to visually process. It's Alysha, ALYSHA class. And that will take you to one of my personal classes. Okay, so other codes then. So the template that is completely ready for your use, the only thing I would say is to personalize it. Like I said, with your before and after or your new artist, like whoever the artist is that the class, who's selling the product, it is actually, let's just do this. This might be easier so that you guys can visually see it. So the one that's ready for use is this T4QC01 TW. I know it's pretty small. You guys are also welcome to go look at my personal template if you want to copy anything off of it. Obviously, it's all of my face, so it's not that you're welcome to use any videos you want. It just would be weird to have a class with all of me when you're the artist. And that's T0V901RV. Then we have, what was this code? I think this is, this code is the RSVP survey. So that is R-22L03Q5. And then, product library. There you go, product library. And then the classes you can check out, like I said, our new artist. and Alicia class. It wants to put a space, but there is no space. I think that is all in terms of codes. Okay. So that is basically it. The only other thing, we have a little bit of an exciting thing. So anyone who runs a class, keep in mind your first month is free. So there really isn't a price objection. So you'll create a Sqweee account, try it out. Anyone who runs a class, it can be your personal class or you can get a host between now and October 15th is going to be eligible to win $100 in product. So Chelsea is willing to share her product. I know for some that are way more established, that might not feel as exciting. And we're hoping that you'll still explore Sqweee, knowing how this can really help your business. But for people that are, starting off, still trying to build their collection, this hopefully is a great incentive. So we'll check in, but now between October 15th, if you run a Sqweee class, you'll be entered to win and then we'll draw a winner. And yeah, so let's see what questions there are. Sqweee is more interactive than Visibly. The chat on during the party makes it so much easier to communicate with guests. I've been in a Sqweee for Norix in Usborne, and I had no idea I was able to see the whole party through text. Yeah, awesome. I just read that because other people won't be able to see once we end this call. Visibly, it's just a mechanism to be able to post on Facebook. And I just think in general, even if you run a really compact Facebook class, there's been so many issues with notifications. We're not saying don't do it. If it's working for you, fantastic. But the whole point of this is we wanted to give you another avenue that if you were feeling kind of stuck with Facebook classes, which is ultimately where Lauren and I were, in the whole process.
Well, and I also think too, it's a great way because if you can run a class in 40 minutes, think how many classes you can actually run. Yeah. Whereas before doing like a week-long Facebook class, I would do maybe 2 a week and feel like I could kind of accomplish that, but still I would have a hard time keeping up with that 2 weeks. So the cool thing is like I can run a ton, so can Taylor, like during the week, and you can schedule it to make it work for you, but it's 40 minutes and then you're done and then you just do your follow-up. So it's just a lot. It just simplifies your life, especially if you're super busy, which I know we all are.
Yeah. I like too that I can just block out that time. I usually schedule in my personal calendar an hour because I'll stay on kind of after, answer questions, monitor the chat. But it's so much easier. Like I'm running a Facebook class right now and I'm like, oh, I got to go schedule those class because I've stopped using Visibly at this point just because of the algorithm. I try to get the best bang for my buck, but I keep forgetting to schedule my posts. I don't know who iPhone is, but thanks for the question. If we get in count yeah, there is a referral incentive. Oh,
just kidding. Ignore me.
Let me find that. Now that you say that, such a great question. I don't think it kicks in unless you actually pay, but there is one. I remember seeing this.
That's funny. I had no clue.
Here we go. All right. I'll put it in the chat and I'll also, that's the referral code. Let me also type it on this little document. Use this referral code. And I'll share this just so you guys, I know it's hard to sometimes process. So it's 0YQ006H is what that referral code is. And actually then what you'll do, thanks for asking. I wouldn't have thought to share that. What you'll do, I think when you sign up is, I think it should be somewhere. And actually, what is the incentive? Oh, you guys get a $5 credit account as well. So use that.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. That's cool.
Wait,
thank you, iPhone. I don't know who it was. It was awesome.
Wait, maybe I'm wrong. I might be wrong about that.
I'm all getting excited over here.
Anyway, if you guys use that, we'd appreciate it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Okay. Anyone else with questions? Hi, Tiffany. Thanks.
Oh, hi, Tiffany.
iPhone Tiffany. Any other questions, or if you want to come off mute or share, like anyone have thoughts about this? Like, are you feeling overwhelmed? Or are you feeling like, yay, something new?
You can do this
before we wrap up.
Who wants to try one?
Dana, are you trying to come off mute? No, okay.
No.
I thought I saw your phone moving. Let me ask this. Do you guys feel like after this, maybe you'll have to go back and rewatch a little bit, but that you could take the template and go run a class? Oh, Melissa's so excited.
Yay,
Yay.
Melissa. Yay.
I personally, I would like to run a class with it. I just want to understand it a little bit more. So I'd probably go back and watch the live. But I do have a question about that.
Yeah.
Where can you find this recording at?
Such a good question. We got to upload it. We'll get it sent out really quick, but then we're actually going to try to start to have a team YouTube page where we're going to upload training. So I'll try to send it out as soon as possible. So that way you can get back to watching it. But check Bailey, I will actually have to send it to you directly because you are not, as a new artist, you're not in our main team pages yet. Melissa, I'll do it for you as well. I think you might be in new ones. Anyone that's new, let me know. I can post it in the new artist boot camp, but for everyone else, it will be in the community announcements. So make sure you're part of that Telegram thread.
And it really does just take one class, Bailey, like kind of throwing yourself in there and you'll get it. So, because there were times I remember, like I said, I'm not technical. I didn't even, there was a referral code, you guys, like that. I just don't pay attention to detail. And like Taylor walked me through it and I was like, what? Okay, like I'm ready. I think I got this. And then I just threw myself in the class and it does get easier. I mean, the first class was like, okay, I'm trying to keep up with the chat and all that stuff, but it really does get so much easier and it just flows and you know what's coming. So it's fun. It's a great thing. And then Dana said you get pushback for using another program. So I have, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I have not.
She has not. I have. I've actually had to ask a lot of so some of the girls that I've done it with have been repeat done Facebook parties with them and they were very skeptical of it and did not want to leave Facebook. Taylor is like, I'm only doing Facebook. And I was like, okay, I'll do Facebook.
Only
like,
Sqweee. I'm only doing Sqweee. I can be a little
Sqweee.
rigid.
I'm sorry, Sqweee. Yeah. Sorry. And
it's my boundary setting for my schedule that I have to, but yeah.
So she was like, I'm only doing Sqweee. And I was like, well, I'll do Facebook. So that's why, Dana, I do a live the next day. It's kind of like my way of saying, okay, most of you are like comfortable with Facebook. So let me give you still kind of a party aspect, but will you just try this out for me? And they've all been okay with that.
Lauren, also though, correct me if I'm wrong, anyone that's given you pushback are people that have like either been a host before or have been part of your class.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. So they were like, they've seen the Facebook, they just know that, they feel comfortable. They had made big sales on a Facebook class with me before. And so they were like, that's what we know. And so I had to, luckily they trusted me and they were like, okay, we'll do Sqweee, but I do have to promise them I will do a live that next day. So I do a little bit more with that. I personally, I just feel like I like the teaching aspect. So for me, I go back and do a Facebook Live just so they see my face and slow it down. I do tend to deal with a lot of older customers too. So sometimes Sqweee will move fast for them, even on a replay. So for me to go live, it just kind of gives them a slowed down version. And so far it's been okay. Although I've had two that won't let me do Sqweee. So
yeah, I had my one that I'm hosting on Facebook is a really odd exception and I won't go into the details of it, but otherwise I literally am like, I promise, like, people enjoy this because it's an escape from social media. It also helps to switch the narrative of like the classic parties. I think people are inundated with parties right now. So I find all my people though aren't return hosts for the most part, and they're totally fine with it. So
I think it's your verbiage and how you come and posture yourself too. I think if you come in and you're like, hey, I'm really like loving this new platform. It's super interactive. Will you just give it a try? Like just giving that like confidence within it. Most of them will come around and be like, okay, fine. Yeah. And then they'll do it. So
I really promote the concept that it's off of social media. And I'm like, you know, we're feeling burnt out by social media. It's so nice. You just plug into that. It's less distracting. When I describe that to people, I'm like, you don't have to worry about like Facebook notifications. They really buy into that. So,
I kind of, sorry.
Yeah. No, go.
Guess I will come off mute.
Yay.
I don't even know if these are a thing anymore. On Facebook, they started doing those like, it's kind of like Zoom, like the party
Oh, the rooms?
Yeah, the room. And so I did a skincare party through that with a friend, and it was for like the hour, and she did, we talk a little bit, and then she would do her presentation. Like with Zoom, you share the screen and do her little presentation, and then we all did like a mask, and it's like Zoom, so you see everybody, and so
Yeah.
it was a lot better than just looking at posts constantly. So I think that the interaction part of this with the chat and everything would be hopefully welcomed, because it's not just Facebook
Yeah.
that you're always
Yeah.
on.
I haven't personally heard any negative things once I get my host on it. Like I'm hearing like really positive things. Some people will say it moves a little fast, but I say just go back and watch the replay. The other thing, Lauren chooses to go live. I don't usually. I just reassure them though that when they get their makeup, like they're going to be taught exactly how to do it. And most people are like, okay, as long as you teach me how to do it, I'm good. So. But I think that's the thing is like there isn't a one size fits all. So try it out. I also think the idea of doing something like Facebook rooms or Zoom is awesome. It's like, how can we evolve rather than being like the Facebook algorithm isn't, working for groups? What do we do to evolve our businesses rather than just thinking about the ways that we're stuck? So I love that you shared that. So
Yeah,
a couple people are saying, sorry, Lauren, I didn't mean to.
You're so fine. You're good.
Just sounds like something that's easier to try than figuring out Facebook and remember to schedule. People are saying they need to rewatch. So maybe go back and rewatch. The other thing we'll offer is feel free, put your questions in the community chat if you're in Telegram. Again, if you're a new artist, you can post them in the New Artist Bootcamp, although the new artists will be switching over to Telegram shortly. That way, and tag Lauren and I, we're happy to answer questions, but my guess is your questions someone else is going to have. So rather than like us going back and forth in individual messages, it hopefully will help kind of the community as a whole. But yeah, go through, play around. But I think once you get your template imported, you're going to be like, wait, my party is ready to go.
It's so freeing. It's so freeing, like time wise.
Yeah. And then just test it out, and I really, you'll see in the examples, there is a lot of chatting. You don't have to do as much chatting either. But like, I do encourage people like, what's your favorite color? Or, in terms of lip and cheeks, or, reminding them about the like shopping tab, for example. I do remind them on most videos to press play. Some will autoplay. It depends on the platform they're using, but I always say press play now, and I kind of like give them a little tour of it. But I think if you go into the new artist in the Alicia class as an example, you'll see what it's like from the customer side, and it will make more sense. And then, but let us know what questions there are. Anything else? Type in any questions, come off mute. Lauren, did you have anything else?
No, just give it a try. I think so many artists have spent so much time complaining that, Facebook's just hates us. And this just gives you a new way to kind of try something. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. But I always say, try things, give it a try. It may work for you. It might be awesome. What's the worst that can happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. Try it out. You can get a free subscription and be eligible
Might
to
win $100 in makeup.
$100 in products. So. Yeah.
So, thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And let us know if there's questions, and I'll try to get the replay posted as soon as possible.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye, guys.